of America, and they don't like most of the Trump voters because they are Americans. And De Niro, how stupid is he without a script? Isn't that amazing? I used to think, wow, that guy's brilliant. But once you take the words away from him, he is so stupid. Then when he says, impeachment will make America great again, and everybody's, how intellectually deprived he is. He's a coke-addled simpleton, without a script. It is hysterical.
OMG, you won't believe what went down. Greg Gutfeld totally went off on Robert De Niro, and it was wild. He didn't just throw a little shade. He straight up turned De Niro's whole Hollywood tough guy thing into a big joke, and he did it fast. Like in just a few minutes, Greg cracked so many jokes and dropped so many facts. De Niro didn't even know what hit him, and by the time Greg was done, De Niro was just standing there like he forgot how to talk.
Last night, an elderly, confused man went missing in New York. Luckily, a band of self-satisfied elitists found him babbling on the street, threw some pants on him, gave him a stage.
Oh my God.
I'm going to say one thing. Trump.
It kills me. Talk about persuasive. Really, I was on the fence about Trump, but then I decided to really listen to one of the great generational leaders of American pop culture, and the clenched fists at the end, that really drove it home. It looked like he was pressing a 2-pound weight in a Jenny Craig commercial.
Oh my God.
Look at it again. It's so cute.
Yo, listen, this was not Greg just talking. This was Greg going full savage on Robert De Niro. Like he wasn't joking around, he was calling out all that fake Hollywood hero stuff. De Niro always does like yelling about Trump in fancy clothes and acting like that's changing the world, and Greg didn't need anything fancy. He just needed his brain, his words, and a few minutes to break it all down and show how fake it really is.
Robert De Niro's 29-year-old child, Aaron, has come out as transgender. When the press asked her for comment, she said, "You talking to they, them?" Thank you.
So, okay, let me spill it. If you're into this kind of wild drama, you gotta hit that sub button and turn on the bell, because what happened next was classic De Niro being De Niro. He popped up again, acting like he's America's angry voice. Like every time he gets a mic, he turns it into this dramatic show. Like, is he trying to get an Oscar or run for office? And there he was again throwing shade, like he was mad that regular people actually think for themselves without asking him first.
And the star of Dirty Grandpa, Robert De Niro, getting censored by The View after raging like a bull who saw a red MAGA hat.
And they might think that it's going to make their life better, or they just want to, excuse my French, literally, it's almost like he wants to do the worst that he could possibly do to show this country. His
Jesse, I find that he's smartest when they drop his audio.
Then Greg walks in all chill with that sneaky little smile, like he already knows Twitter gonna explode, but he doesn't care. And boom, he starts roasting, saying De Niro ain't even acting anymore. He's just like one of those loud, angry reviews people post when their coffee lid is a little off and everyone on the panel cracks up, and Greg's just getting started like he's not stopping anytime soon.
They can't see it themselves, and they're not surrounded by people telling them that they have a problem. And they lack self-awareness because everybody either tells them they're wonderful or wants to sell. So he has no clue what he's doing, and he's upset over the emotional nature. His anger is emotional about Trump. It's nothing practical.
You're right. So De Niro used to play all these deep, cool movie roles, and now he's just this angry old guy yelling like the sky owes him something, and Greg wasn't just making jokes. He was showing the truth, like De Niro turned into that one uncle who always ruins Thanksgiving by repeating TV news. And then Greg said, yeah, I liked him in Taxi Driver and all, but maybe the real acting was pretending he could do more than just play mad old dudes. And now whenever he talks, it's like watching a school play gone wrong, and then he joked how De Niro wants to punch Trump, even though he probably hasn't thrown a real punch since his movies needed CGI and stunt guys.
The real story is how accusations of Trump's nutty behavior always ends up with the accusers acting nuttier. De Niro calls Trump crazy as he goes crazier. Adam Schiff calls Trump a liar as he makes up quotes. Dems talk about undermining institutions as they try to undermine an election. But when asked for reasons why Trump shouldn't be president, all Bobby had were sputtering F-bombs. His resistance had run out of script.
You won't believe what Greg said next. He joked that if 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸 even tried to swing his shoulder, would give up on him, and the whole place cracked up, and Greg acted like he didn't even mean to say it. And then he goes talking real bravery is standing up to real danger. But 𝐃𝐢𝐬's out here shouting about someone who's not even president anymore with a bunch of folks around him cheering like he just found the cure for something, and Greg goes, that's not courage, that's just political karaoke. And the wildest part is how the media treats him like some rebel, like yelling the same stuff as everyone else in Hollywood while rocking expensive shoes somehow makes him special. Greg just shook his head, like this is comedy gold.
It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us by a democratic government. A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye.
Greg looked around and said, isn't it funny how these Hollywood folks always act like they get regular people, but 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸 hasn't stood in a grocery line or flown coach in years. And then Greg goes, this man calls Trump fans dangerous while he made a living playing killers and gangsters, like seriously, now wearing a red hat is the big threat. And Greg just kept going, saying this fake outrage is loud, messy, and if you don't agree, they treat you like the villain, and everyone was cracking up while Greg just sat there sipping his coffee like he already knew he cooked 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸 again.
Idiot is the president. The guy is a fool. Our government today, with the prompting of our baby-in-chief, has in chief, I call him.
That's some reliable source you got there. This is what moms call bad language, or what producers call great TV. The plan, get an irrational figure at peak derangement and goad him into snapping. It's like cabaret for the chronically obsessed.
So Greg goes, man, have you heard 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸 talk lately? It's not even talking. It's more like growling like a raccoon fighting with a leaf blower, and when you ask him anything simple, he acts like you just broke his coffee machine, and then Greg wraps it up saying 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸's not mad about politics, he's just mad. Nobody cares what he says anymore. Deep down, he knows his best days were back in the 90s, and now he only gets called when Sean Penn says no, and Greg leans back smiling like, bro, I didn't need to scream to win this fight, and 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸, if he hears this, you just know he's gonna start yelling again while someone checks how bad his last movies flopped compared to Gutfeld's show.
Robert De Niro graced the knitting circle in hell known as the View, where he tried to link random thoughts into a sentence. Joy was there to wind him up, since he's played some of the most unredeemable characters.
You have played some of the most really unredeemable characters. Travis Bickle. Travis Bickle was a psychopathic taxi driver. Jake LaMotta, who used to beat his wife, and he was in The Raging Bull. Is Trump worse than they are?
To me, he is. He has no understanding that I can see of the outside world other than anything around him. He has no idea of what his purpose in life is as the president should be, and that is to pull the country together, to be for the people, to heal wounds, not to open them up and pour salt on them.
De Niro clearly has thought about this, more so than his career. His choice of roles is now down to cinnamon and lobster.
Greg didn't have to yell. He just spoke facts the way 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸 used to before he became the joke, not the star. And the wild part is 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐸 actually thinks he's some kind of rebel now. Like reading tweets makes him dangerous, and Greg's like, bro, you're not fighting the system. You're just mad. No one listens anymore. This is the same guy who talked about real art. And now he's doing sequels nobody asked for and blaming politics for why no one watched his last movie.
Inflation. Instead, he's obsessed with these hypothetical what-ifs that Trump is going to keep hold on to power. None of these things are true.
Everyone on the panel was cracking up, not just because it was funny, but because it was so true. And then Greg switches his tone like, here comes a truth bomb wrapped in a joke, and he says 𝐃𝐢𝐸𝐸 calls Trump a bully and a threat to democracy. But this is the same guy who threatens to punch people and talks like someone just woke him up from a nap, and Greg goes, if that's moral superiority, then I'm a vegan life coach and the room lost it. And then he hits the big twist. honest. Like, think about it. Darrow made his whole career playing rule breakers and rebels, and now he's out here panicking just because folks don't agree with CNN. Greg couldn't stop laughing, saying, "Man, the irony writes itself."
I read that article that you sent me about the last nights of John Belushi and how De Niro was there and just basically partied with him and then split. And it's just like, that's now I just think of him as a really stupid guy.
Well, he's got The Irishman coming out. That looks pretty good.
I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah, we should go see it.
All right, you guys.
Greg said Darrow used to play tough mob guys, and now he's on TV threatening people like that's gonna fix anything. Greg joked. He's seen scarier Taco Bell reviews, and when Darrow talks now, it's like he's arguing with a chair, angry, confused, and somehow still losing. He acts like he's saving the country, but it just feels like a midlife meltdown. Even his own fans probably want him to just chill, and Greg's loving it, like roasting Darrow is too easy. It's not even a fight, it's just fun.
Good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us by a democratic government. A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms.
You ever see someone crash and burn so slowly they think they're flying? That's exactly what happened to Darrow, and Greg didn't need to raise his voice. He just sat there watching Darrow go off like he was starring in some dramatic slow-motion soap opera pretending it was deep like Shakespeare, and then Greg drops the kind of punch that doesn't just sting, it sticks forever, he says. Darrow doesn't sound like the voice of America, he sounds like that one long voicemail you delete without listening, that annoying ad you skip on YouTube, that loud grandpa who keeps telling the same old story at dinner, but now he's rocking a resistance shirt and expecting a standing ovation. Greg said, "This ain't even about politics." Darrow lost because he mixed up shouting with meaning. He thought being loud meant he was right. He thought just being mad made him wise. But Greg came through with calm, clear truth and jokes so sharp, they made Darrow's movie reviews look soft. Darrow brought heat, but Greg brought facts, and those facts hit like a truck wrapped in punchlines. And what really finished it off was that Darrow didn't even know he was losing. He kept yelling, thinking he was making a point while the crowd laughed, and the truth quietly closed the chapter for him, and by the end, it wasn't just Greg who crushed him, it was the cold, hard reality he keeps trying to ignore.